Self-love is kind of a weird subject because to me, I feel it's a little bit of a catch-all. So, and I'll give you an example. Somebody might say that if you want to feel better, look better, perform better, think better, you have to eat well or you have to eat better. And so that's a little bit like what self-love is like. If you want more contentment, if you want more joy, if you want more happiness, if you want to feel, get unstuck in your life, you have to learn to truly, unconditionally love yourself. This is something that I work with clients. And the one thing that I think is actually interesting is when I bring up the subject about self-love, probably 95% of the time they'll say, oh, I love myself unconditionally and stuff. But then we go through a few tests and stuff to see like what it is, how much they love themselves. And it's pretty general, pretty surface. Like they might say, I like that I make a lot of money. I like that I like nice things. I like my hair. I like my eyes. I love my clothes, or something like that. They don't talk about the character of who they are or the core of who they are. But when we get to the bottom line, to the bottom of it, then we start to figure out that there are some things that they do not like or even hate about themselves. Now, one of the things that I teach them to do is to get to the point where the very things that you hate about yourselves are the very things that you now love about yourself. Now, for those of us, or those of you who are parents, this is a good way of looking at it. I would venture to guess that if you have a child and this child does something to disappoint you, you will never stop loving them. It doesn't matter if they rob a bank or get into a fight or wreck your car or whatever, you will never stop loving them. At that moment, you may not like them, you may not like what they did, but you will never stop loving them. And you'll still treat it with, hopefully with enough love and respect and nurturing and whatever it is that they need to get past that and to learn from it. But we don't do this for ourselves. We beat ourselves over the head with a hammer whenever we make a mistake. We're not, what's the word I want to say? Okay, I'll just say this. We're not kind. We're not kind to ourselves. Some of us are. I'll be the first to admit, I used to be that person where if I made a big mistake, especially if it affected others, I would just beat myself up. And I would do it almost as though that I thought to myself that this is what I need to do in order to make it better, and which is stupid. But that was my mindset back then. Fast forward, or I should say, go back about 20-some years, is when I first learned what self-love is. Now, and this has been my experience. I was just learning, what it was and how to experience it. So I'll give you a tip about what I did. One of the things that I did is that I actually sat down with a pen and paper, believe it or not on my phone, but pen and paper, and I started to jot down everything that I loved about myself. Now, the first few times I did this, I only came up with about 4 or 5 things, and that was it. And just like anybody else, they were surface things. I said, I like my hair, I like my body, I like the way I dress, and that's what I came up with. After a few weeks, maybe I was coming up with some things that, I like my job, I like my friends, I like that kind of stuff. And then after, I'd say, a few months, I started to realize, and again, I'm practicing doing this. I'm trying to think of as many things as I could that I love about myself. What was happening, or what had happened, I should say, was that the very things that I hated about myself now became the things that I loved about myself. So I'll give you an example. Way back when, 100 years ago, when I was in college, I was diagnosed with ADD. And so when I'm talking, sometimes it gets fragmented, and then the subject goes all over the place. I also have just a tiny bit of a stutter, and it's one of those things that I hated this about myself because I always felt like I sounded, very unintelligent. Now it's become the very thing that I like about myself, or I should say that I love about myself. Um, to me, and it only needs to be to me, it actually is endearing. I love it. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. It's who I am, but I love it. Much like a parent would love a child that maybe is not very sports oriented, or maybe they're not real book smart, or whatever. You still love them no matter what, and in some cases you love them more because of that. And that's where I had gotten to. I had learned to love myself even more for the things that, or ways I felt like I was coming up short. So again, pen and paper, start to list all the things that you love about yourself. And then when you get to the point where you're listing things that you used to hate that you now love about yourself, now you're getting somewhere. And just keep doing this exercise, as much as you can, and see what comes up. Because for me, what came up was kind of a visceral feeling. I could not really put my finger on it, but I knew I felt different. I knew that I was slowly letting go of the person that I once was. And fast forward to, we're talking almost 20 years ago when I did this. I don't think I could go back to the same way of thinking if I tried. It's kind of like, squeezing the toothpaste out of the tube and then trying to put it back in. I can't. So I feel very blessed that I figured this out on my own. Now I have read other books on how to, love yourself and stuff, but that was probably one of the main things that I did that worked for me, that was almost like measurable. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I thought about this. I was just running some errands and I pulled over, and I thought I wanted to share this with my people, with the LGBTQ plus community. And I hope you're enjoying your day. And if you have any comments, please comment below. Otherwise, DM me, and enjoy your day. Thank you.